Welcome back to Area DMG. I am your host, Philip Wesley, the Mile High Mouth, and for today's episode of Suki Nihon, we are looking at episode 3 of Corpse Party, Tortured Souls, Unconveyed Feelings. You know how I said that horror is best when the horrific things are not your fault and not deserved? So, Yuya and Yuka bond, sort of. Then we're taken back to Naomi, who gets a really disturbing phone call as an earthquake rocks the school. Yuka runs. Her brother finds a videotape that he thinks might be able to help. Sure. Yuya gets taken out. Mokita runs into Naho, who tells him about the charm's real abilities. Kishinama and Shinozaki think that they're back out. Actually, they make it back to the school, the real school, for a moment. Then they run into one of the ghost children that informs them that the tongues and apology aren't completely everything needed to end the curse. So a little ghost girl shows Shinozaki the past, in which it is shown that the real murderer is not the dude that was like, oh, cut out their tongues and all this stuff. No. The real murderer is Sachiko. She's just so creative with her scissors and the stabbing and the It's really an eyeful when you think about it. So Shinozaki learns that one of the ghost girls was murdered by, Sachiko did all the murdering in the most horrible ways, and including like taking out one of the girl's little eyes, which actually has to do with like a teddy bear, you find out, but let's not worry about that yet. So after this is revealed, Shinozaki's like, you know what? I'm going back. I'm going to go back and stop Sachiko and save everyone. So she decides to. And we'll see how that goes. Naomi and Mokita meet up and take Psycho down from the rope. Sachiko decides that it's time to attack Yuka. And Kanishima tries to save Yuka and Shinozaki, and that doesn't go well. You see, horror works when it's the worst possible things happening to good people. Like, I like The Walking Dead. And here's a Walking Dead spoiler. There's a character named Glenn who's a really good guy, does a lot of good things, doesn't kill anyone until until season 6 pretty much, and due to the actions of another character meets an untimely demise in season 7 in a pretty brutal fashion. I'm sorry for the spoiler. Characters die. I was expecting that character to die because that character died in the comics, but the way they pulled off the death was interesting, undeserved, and that makes it sadder. You see, cruelty, or rather a nihilism, or rather a productive nihilism, an active nihilism, tends to seek out innocence and virtue and destroy it. The whole point of horror is to remind us that there is bad in the world. There is evil. There is wrong in the world. And, like, for example, I like the movie Bubba Hotep. Bubba Hotep is about legends and that little bit of apathy that we have toward the less capable of our society. It's really about the cruelty, not of an ancient mummy, but of a society that treats our elderly the way that we do. How we treat the forgotten. And a little bit of that comes out through Corpse Party. I know there are people who are like, I've seen some reviews of this where people are just like, oh, it's too brutal. Why did this happen? Oh, it's horrible. Oh! No, this happened because that's the nature of a horror movie. A proper horror movie, bad things happen to good people. And it's not the fault of the good people. They have no reason for this to happen to them. Because if they did, it'd be a revenge film, not a horror film. But when bad things happen to good people, or unfortunate things happen to good people, like, there's I liked Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. It's from the guy that did Old Boy and Lady Vengeance and Thirst and stuff. I like Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance because one of the story arcs just has this thing where an accident happens and it's just the worst thing. It's not deserved. And it's horrific that it happens. Or, I liked Three Extremes, that's a good one. What happens in, not in Dumplings, but what happens in Cut in that one, takes what you should have seen in like the Saw movies and fixes it, makes it work. We need to have virtuous characters. And in this particular anime, Yuka is the virtuous character, and things don't go well for Yuka. And I was just like, that's really unfortunate. It reminds me a bit of if I were a channel that reviewed certain types of other animated programs, I totally would. There's this one that like, I can't say what it is because that would be a spoiler for it. Well, you know what? I'm not going to. You can ask me in the comments and I might mention what I'm talking about, but I'm not going to mention it here on the video. You'll just have to ask. Anyways, I like horror where bad things happen to good people. You didn't ask to be in this situation. You didn't ask for the world to get overrun by zombies. You didn't ask for that. And it's best because that's a type of horror where people who don't deserve it, who aren't doing anything wrong, when they get a comeuppance that's just cruel, that's the essence of horror. And that's the essence of Corpse Party. It's that nihilism that makes it such a good, if not horribly intense, show. I liked it. Well, let me know in the comments below what you've thought of this. It's been released on Blu-ray from Sentai Filmworks, or Made in Japan, and yeah, it's worth checking out. It's on DVD and Blu-ray, whole 4 episodes, good stuff. A bit grotesque, so you've been warned. Bit bloody, bit gory, bit squishy and squeamishy, and it continues to be so. I mean, these sound effects. Oh, there's a sound effect that reminds me of I think it's called Thriller, A Cruel Movie, or They Call Her One Eye. There's a sequence, yeah. There's a lot of horribly squeamish stuff in here. And the ending sequence part there with Sachiko in the little room, and the, Sachiko's evil, but she's also like that because, well, you'll see. I've seen this entire series, so, well, check out like the next episode of this because we're going to put that up, you know, like we're going to put up our review of it. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you thought of this episode if you're watching along with us. Hit that thumbs up. Go ahead and like this if you haven't already. Share if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. Until the next episode comes out, you are now caught up.